Hello, this is Alessandrina with Dexter and Alessandrina. And today I wanted to share with you a life strategy that you can implement to feel more like you have a work-life balance. And even if it's not work-life balance, if it's just balancing your life, if you're not currently working or if it's not your focus, or if you find that you have good balance in your work, then you can focus this life strategy on balancing your life. And so the little metaphor that I'm going to use up front comes from actually a corporate trainer. I believe it was Covey, Franklin Covey or Harvey Covey. And he was teaching his students how to essentially have more balance and also be able to feel fulfilled in their lives. And the way that he went about that was using a jar and showing people how they can feel the jar. And imagine that the jar is kind of like yourself and your fulfillment, and what you put in the jar is going to bring the fulfillment. So in this metaphor, in this example, where he was teaching people how to experience more fulfillment and more balance in their lives, using the jar, when he was using the jar, essentially what he was doing is he was, showing the different elements that could be put in the jar and kind of asking students, so what would you put in the jar? And helping them realize what happens based on what they put in the jar. So in that metaphor, there were rocks, there were pebbles, there was sand, and then there was water. And the big rocks, you could say, would be what's important to you, your priorities. Then the pebbles are just the little things that you like to add. The sand is kind of the to have to do, and then the water, just like the general fabric of life and the things that we do. So if you were to first fill the jar with the water, you couldn't put that much more, to fill it unless it overflowed. So in that metaphor, you put the big rocks first, and then you let everything kind of like feel the space around the big rocks. And so, of course, if we want to fill our jars, our lives, with the big rocks, and therefore our priorities, we first must go through a process of identifying what our priorities are in life. And that's not always easy, because we're so conditioned by society, by our parents, by friends, by teachers, by the collective consciousness in what we prioritize in our lives, which might not actually bring us that much fulfillment and balance. So we can get kind of pulled into many different directions, doing things throughout the day, so in the doing rather than the being, and doing a lot of things that are not actually going to lead to fulfillment and balance, and can take you, into a state of internal conflict and disharmony, so not useful. So this practice, when you allow yourself in a meditative state, in a relaxed state, in an hypnotic state, meaning, allowing yourself to get to a point where you can access your subconscious mind, you can then really assess for yourself, what's meaningful to me, what's important to me, what do I want to do in my life, why and why. So what do I want to do and why? And ask yourself that question. And then as you do that, you might become aware, for instance, that it's not really you who wants to do that. Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a grandparent, maybe it's someone that you've admired in your life. Whatever that is, if you can assess for yourself, well, maybe for them that it was fulfilling to do that and to engage in those ways. And for me, when I feel into it, when I put my heart into the process and feel how it feels in my body, and the kinds of emotions that I feel, it's not really leading to joy or happiness or inner peace or feelings of love and oneness and wholeness. And if it's not a big rock. I'm not saying that you just don't do it at all. I'm simply saying that you first put your big rocks in your jar, in your life, in your day-to-day life, including like, okay, maybe you can do your, let's say you have 5 rocks. And some days you cannot do the 5 rocks, the things that are most meaningful and important to you in your life that you want to prioritize. Well, maybe you can have one and focus on that one and realize that there might be other things in your life that are not as of yet in balance, and that are not as of yet as you want them to be, and you surrender to that. And then you ask yourself, like, how can I let go of more of that stuff that's taking up so much space that I can't put my big rocks. And as you continuously do that, whether it's a new career, whether it's no longer being in certain relationship or relationship dynamics that are draining, really acknowledging where you're being drained energetically and not really fulfilled and balanced as a result, and then letting go of those activities or those things that you were previously maybe attached to, or you had an aversion to not doing them because of a program that you were conditioned into. So when you clear that and you're clear about what brings you fulfillment, then you can focus on that. And then as a result of that, you have less energy drain. You have more fuel, you have more energy, because you're doing what matters to you, what brings you happiness and joy and peace and fulfillment. And therefore, that really allows you to have more energy. And then you're going to feel that. You're going to feel a lot more energized, less drain, more motivation. So less tendency to sabotage or to just not, to feel kind of lazy and or bored. When you focus on your big rocks, there'll be a lot less of that. So a lot more energy and a lot more creativity. And then you'll be able to refine your big rocks, your priorities, in such a way that it's ever evolving and bringing more and more fulfillment and more joy and more feelings of really feeling peace, because you're connected to your soul's intention and connected to your soul. And when you're connected to your soul's intention and your intentions in life, then it's much easier to really be able to feel that sense of grounded peace and to experience a lot more joy and happiness and all of the wonderful emotions, positive emotions and energies that we want to experience in life. So prioritize, become aware of what your priorities truly are, let go gently, lovingly, in a way where you forgive yourself of the things that don't serve you, or the things that you've done out of being conditioned into them. And I look forward to hearing your feedback on that, how that changes the way that you experience your life. The first day, in 10 days, in 30 days, however long you do this, and however you refine your process of doing this. I hope it's helpful. Sending you lots of love.